Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known by BrightShine. Everybody in the city, Mills, in the county, sheriff, and state, Tennessee. And today and date is early Sunday morning, December 16, 2018. The time 4:19 a.m. And I want to always first say thank to all my family, my support for your continued encouragement and support. Now this is part 2 of the same video. This is part 2 of the same video, which is date 12 December the 16th, 2018. December the 16th, 2018. This is going to be part 2 of the same video. Okay, now we back. Like I said, we on part 2 of the same video, and it's gonna have the same date. It's gonna have December 16, 2018. So this is part 2. Now, getting back to what we were talking about, so we can continue our reading. Now we just got through reading. We read Acts chapter 6, and then I read Acts chapter 7 verses 54 through 60. And we're talking about Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, the lying, murdering devil. Then we read Acts chapter 8, verses 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we really started to get a clear view of the devil. Some people, that's a hard thing to know themselves. They probably want to take me outside and beat me to death. Maybe they probably want to stone me to death, like they want to do me like they did Stephen. But I tell you like this, you're not going to take me nowhere. You see, I know that the devil, it's the devil. Saul is the devil. See, it's the devil. See, you could never, ever sit there and accuse Stephen of blasphemy against the law of Moses and against God and consent to the death of Stephen. Like, think about it. They done already went in front of the chief priests and all them, and then Saul himself, he gonna consent to the death of Stephen. You make it sound like somebody gonna stop Stephen from being killed after the chief priest had already told you that we the chief priest over them. But then you got this person, Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed, standing there, and he consented to the death of Stephen. And then over there in Acts chapter 8, in chapter 1, then you start persecuting the church. See, you the devil. See, these are the things that's being done. And then we get over to Acts chapter 9. See, these are the references that we return back to. This is the reason why we're going over. See, we return back. When we be over there in Acts chapter 9, seeing so many people walking around that have been brainwashed. They've been brainwashed. They think so highly of Saul. The Catholic Church, they call him Saint Paul. Then you got all these Protestant people. They walking around there. They want to beat you to death because of Saul. You know, you just brainwashed. You've been picking scriptures out and verses out the Bible, but you ain't reading the Bible for the truth. Saul is the devil. That's what the devil do. He deceived. The devil walking around in a human form. The devil walking around in a human form, persecuting the church. See, anything that's anybody that's worshiping Jesus Christ, what make you think the devil gone? He the enemy of Christ. Like it's something unusual. That's what the devil is. He hate God. He hate Jesus Christ. He do. He hate God, hate Jesus Christ. Just like a lot of you devil worship. You deceived by the devil. Always going around trying to go against other human beings. Think you know everything, but you don't. So, like I said, in Acts chapter 9, we're finna go there. But see, we done read this. And see, we have to give people the opportunity to understand what is it about Saul that we got to call him a devil. He is the devil. That's the reason why. Persecuting the church. Going house to house. Getting men and women. Putting them in jail. Murdering little children. You the devil. On the road to Damascus, breathing out threatenings and slaughter for the disciples of the Lord. You the devil. You the devil. Couldn't nobody have that much hate inside themselves. You couldn't. I don't see no human being having that much hate. You know, having that much hate. Like you know, see, this is what I'm trying to get you to see. See, you act like you know everything. And then you do things because of what you know. You know, just like I was saying, I'm going to give you an example. We've been reading the Bible. Let me give you an example. And when you see the word prophet, you see where we're going with this? You see where I'm going? See, this is the reason why I said the United Nations. When we be over in Acts chapter 11, verse 27. In these, you know, times there were prophets. You see, I know from history tells, I know. See, some people, they not sincere. They're not sincere. See, you got a lot of devil worshippers walking around. They'll do the same thing they did in the past. They'll try to blend in, and they're still trying to do all that devil worshiping. They'll even call themselves a disciple. They'll even call themselves a disciple and try to blend in and sit around. The whole time you still doing the same thing. You worshiping the devil. You just as evil now as you was yesterday. You just as evil today as you was yesterday. And when you think you got the opportunity, it'll be you running your mouth, walking around, trying to say something derogatory, something offensive to the Muslims or to anybody else. But see, you think you know everything. You think you know everything. And you don't. And see, that's the reason why you do the things you do. Because you're a devil. You're a devil worshiper. And that's what devil worshippers do. You are always walking around acting like and thinking that you know everything. But you don't. And like I said, you know, the devil, Saul, he's the devil. And see, this is the evidence. See, this is how you know he the devil. He breathing out threatenings and slaughter. You is a devil. What make you think he not the devil? He walking around breathing out threatenings and slaughter, and specifically the people that's worshiping God. The people that's worshiping God. Now, let me give you an example. If you won, why is it that the other people, why he didn't kill them too? Because they were worshiping him. Did you think about that? You know, I have to point that out. But let me ask you this. No, he couldn't be no devil. Let me see. Because the people he was, the disciples of the Lord, these are Jesus Christ. These are Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ even told Saul, why persecute thou me? These are mine. See, them over there, the ones that did all that evil to Steve, them yours. And he ain't killed them. He the devil. He the devil. See, he ain't killed them. He the devil. He want, I'm going to kill everybody. I'm going to kill everybody. No, he ain't say that. He bring out threatenings and slaughter of the disciples of the Lord. And when the light from heaven shine around about him, then he gonna fall to the earth. He the devil. He trying to deceive you. Don't you see? He gonna fall. When the light from heaven shine around, what do? He fell to the earth. He trying to deceive you. That's the devil. Then he gonna ask. Look what he asked. The first word came out of his mouth. He's trying to deceive you. He knew who it was. He knew who it was. He gonna fall to the earth. Then he gonna ask, Lord, who art thou, Lord? Who art thou, Lord? He gonna fall to the earth. Then he gonna ask, who art thou, Lord? I guess all of us want to ask who he thought he was. Me and you, we don't know who he thought. But this is what we don't. He knew who he was. A heavenly light shining around about nobody but him. He knew who it was. It was God. And then he asked, who art thou? And then the voice said to him, I am Jesus. If you knew everything, when that voice tell you, I am Jesus, you ask a question. I am who art thou, Lord? If you knew, when I tell you, I am Jesus. Lord, what would I have you do? I intend to throw this out there. I intend to throw it out there. Repent. Lord, what would thou have me do? Repent. Repent. See, Jesus told him, arise and go into the city and shall be told thee what thou must do. So let's go to Acts chapter 9. Now also, you know, in Acts chapter 8, I know sometimes I don't always read, because I be having, trying to read the other scriptures too. But we know in Acts chapter 8, Simon the sorcerer, he was corrected by the Apostle Peter, and also the Apostle Philip. He converted the Ethiopian eunuch. So let's go to Acts chapter 9 and read. And Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Lord, went unto the high priest and desired him that was to Damascus, to the synagogue that he found entered his way, where they were men or women, he might bring them down unto Jerusalem. And as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined around about him a light from heaven, and he fell to the earth, and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And he said, Who art thou, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. It's hard for thee to keep against the priest. He's the devil. And he, trembling and astonished, said, Lord, what wilt thou have me to do? And the Lord said unto him, Arise, and go into the city, it shall be told thee what thou must do. Verse number 7. And the men, it can say man, it can say woman or women, it can say boy, a girl. You say, verse number 7, and the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man. And Saul arose from the earth, and when his eyes were opened, he saw no man. But they led him by the hand and brought him into Damascus. And it was 3 days without sight, and neither did he eat nor drink. And there was a certain disciple in Damascus, named Ananias. And to him said the Lord in the vision, Ananias. And he said, Behold, I am here, Lord. And the Lord said unto him, Arise and go into the street, which is called Straight, and inquire in the house of Judah for one called Saul of Tarsus. For behold, he prayed, and has seen in a vision a man named Ananias coming in and putting his hand on him, that he might receive his sight. He the devil. Then Ananias answered, Lord, I have heard by many of this man how much evil he hath done to thy saints at Jerusalem. And here have authority from the chief priest to bind all that call on thy name. But the Lord said unto him, Go thy way, for he is a chosen vessel unto me, to bear my name before the Gentiles and kings and the children of Israel. For I must shew him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake. And Ananias went his way and entered to the house, and putting his hands on him, said, Brother Saul, the Lord, even Jesus that appeared unto thee in the way as thou camest, hath sent me, that thou mightest receive thy sight and be filled with the Holy Ghost. And immediately there fell from his eyes there had been scales, and he shook, and he received sight forthwith, and arose, and was baptized. And when he had received meat, he was strengthened. Then was Saul certain days with the disciples which were at Damascus. And straightway he preached Christ in the synagogue, that he is the Son of God. All that heard him were amazed and said, Is not this he that destroyed them which called on his name in Jerusalem? And came hither for that intent, that he might bring them bound unto the chief priests. But Saul increased the more in strength, and confounded the Jews which dwelt at Damascus, proving that this is very Christ. And after that many days were fulfilled, the Jews took counsel to kill him. But their laying await was known to Saul, and they watched the gate day and night to kill him. Then the disciples took him by night and laid him down by the wall in a basket. And when Saul was come to Jerusalem, he essayed to join himself to the disciples. But they were all afraid of him, and believed not that he was the disciple. But Barnabas took him and brought him to the apostles. He not no apostle. And declared unto them how he had seen the Lord in the way, and that he had spoken to him, and how he had preached boldly at Damascus in the name of Jesus. He the devil. Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle. He the devil. He not no apostle. And he was with them coming in and going out at Jerusalem. And he spake boldly in the name of the Lord Jesus, and disputed against the Greeks, but they went about to slay him. Which when the brethren knew, they brought him down to Caesarea and sent him forth to Tarsus. Now let's just wait right there. Just hold on. Now, we're going to take just a moment, about a minute, about 2 minutes, just a moment, a brief moment, just to sit here and think about Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul. He's in Tarsus. He went in front of the apostles. Barnabas took him in front of the apostles and declared to the apostles that he had seen the Lord in the way and that the Lord Jesus had spoke to him. Now he's in Tarsus. He was baptized and all that, converted. So he's in Tarsus. Think about a minute. Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul. Now he's in Tarsus. Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul. He is now in Tarsus. He's the devil. Now let's continue reading. Verse 31. Then had the churches rest throughout all Judea and Galilee and Samaria, and were edified and walking in the fear of the Lord, and in the comfort of the Holy Ghost were multiplied. And it came to pass, as Peter passed throughout all quarters, he came down also to the saints which dwelt in Lydda. And there he found a certain man named Aeneas, which had kept his bed 8 years, and was sick of the palsy. And Peter said unto him, Aeneas, Jesus Christ maketh thee whole, arise, and make thy bed. And he arose immediately. And all that dwelt in Lydda and Sarah saw him, and turned to the Lord. Now there was at Joppa a certain disciple named Tabitha, which by interpretation is called Dorcas. This one was full of good works, and alms deeds which she did. And it came to pass in those days that she was sick, and died, whom when they had watched, they laid her in the upper chamber. And forasmuch as Lydda was nigh to Joppa, and the disciples had heard that Peter was there, they sent unto him 2 men, desiring him that he would not delay to come to them. Then Peter arose and went with them. When he was come, they brought him into the upper chamber, and all the widows stood by him weeping and shewing their coats and garments which Dorcas made while she was with them. But Peter put them all forth and kneeled down and prayed, and turning him to the body said, Tabitha, arise. And she opened her eyes. And when she saw Peter, she sat up. And he gave her his hand and lifted her up. And when he had called the saints and widows, presented her alive. And it was known throughout all Joppa, and many believed in the Lord. And it came to pass that he tarried many days in Joppa with one Simon, a tanner. Now don't forget, Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul. He is in Tarsus. He is in Tarsus. So now, Acts chapter 10. That's the Apostle Peter's, Apostle Peter's vision. Now, okay, now, Acts chapter 11. Now, Acts chapter 11, it begins with the continuation of Acts chapter 10 with the other Apostle Peter's vision. So, I don't, because time won't permit to read, the whole chapter. So we're going to go over to Acts chapter 11, and we're going to start reading Acts chapter 11, verse 19. Now they, Acts chapter 11, verse 19. Now they, which were scattered abroad upon the persecution that arose by Stephen, traveled as far as Phoenicia and Cyprus and Antioch, preaching the word to none, but unto the Jews only. And some of them were men of Cyprus and Cyrene, which, when they were come to Antioch, spake unto the Greeks, preaching the Lord Jesus. And the hand of the Lord was with them, and a great number believed and turned unto the Lord. Now, see, this is what I've been saying. Before Barnabas came to Antioch, and then Barnabas came to Antioch, and then after Barnabas left Antioch, you didn't hear nobody say Christian or Christians. The first time you hear the word Christian is when Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, is brought to Tarsus. It's brought to Antioch from Tarsus with Barnabas. It was Saul. Jesus Christ, the Son of God, never said Christian or Christian. The apostles never said Christian or Christian. The elders of the church in Jerusalem, who were appointed by the apostles, who were chosen by Jesus Christ, the Son of God, they never said Christian or Christians. The church in Jerusalem never said Christian or Christians. Verse 21. And the hand of the Lord was with them, and a great number believed and turned unto the Lord. Then tidings of these things came into the ears of the church, which was in Jerusalem, and they sent forth Barnabas, that he should go as far as Antioch, who, when he came and had seen the grace of God, was glad, and exhorted them all that with purpose of heart they would cleave unto the Lord. For he was a good man, and full of the Holy Ghost and of faith, and much people was added unto the Lord. Now think about this. Now while all this going on, Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, he is over there in Tarsus. Now we hear about all this going on in Antioch. Saul from Tarsus, he's seen the Lord in the way, and the Lord has spoken to him. He is now in Tarsus. You gonna say he's not the devil? You gonna say he's not the devil? Is that what you gonna say? You gonna say he's not the devil? Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Paul, he is now in Tarsus. We're going to keep on reading. We're going to continue our reading. We're in verse 25. Then departed Barnabas to Tarsus for to seek Saul. Now, Barnabas is finna go to Tarsus. He's going to Tarsus to seek Saul. Now, when you travel in the first century, you had to use first century math to calculate the time and the distance. You put yourself in the first century. What type of vessel? What type of what did Barnabas use to travel? You understand? It's the first century. It's the first century, and Barnabas gonna have to travel from Antioch to Tarsus, but he got to go find Saul. It's a mathematical formula, the first century, to calculate time, distance, and how long it'll take, and how far I got to go. You have to make preparations. You have to make preparations. Verse 26. And when he had found him, I don't know how long that took, but he had to find Saul. That don't sound right. I'm gonna say right now, that don't sound right. You got to go find somebody. You got to go find somebody. That don't sound right. That don't sound. You can't make that sound right. See, this is what I'm saying. See, this is what I be calling Saul the devil. He the devil. Now he ain't gonna tell you he the devil. He walking around in human form. He not gonna tell you I'm the devil. I'm the devil. Because that's what he do. He deceive you. He deceive all of us. That's what the devil do. He deceive all of us. So we're gonna continue our reading. And when he had found him, he brought him unto Antioch. So now Saul has been brought to Antioch from Tarsus. And it came to pass that the whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people. Hold up now, wait. See, this is the reason why. See, when he was over there in Tarsus, you didn't hear nothing like that. But now you're around the disciples. So now you want to teach the people. See, this is what the devil do. He deceive. He deceive. And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch. Now you called the disciples a name. Now you call the disciples a name. It's just like calling, a man calling another man a woman. Or calling a woman. They just say a woman calling another woman. Out her name. And just people in general, just saying something mean and not right. It's just not even right. See how can you look at the wrong that's been. You gonna teach the people on one hand, and then gonna call the disciple a name on the other. You a devil. You the devil. See, you don't even see. People have to pay attention to this. See that you gonna teach the people in Antioch. You with the disciples. You assemble with the church, and you gonna teach the people. Then turn around and call the disciple Christian. That's not right. That's not right. See, this is how you've been brainwashed by organized crime. You've been brainwashed by organized crime. That's not right. That's not right. Calling the disciple Christian. There's a name. There's name calling. That's being mean. That's hate. That's being hateful. That's a sin. That's a sin you commit. See, he the devil. He the devil. But we're in Acts chapter 11. And like verse 26, it says, and the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch. That's our name. Don't think that's right. Don't think that's right. It was Saul who did. It was the devil. It was the devil. It's not right. It's not right. It's not right. We in Acts chapter 11, verse 27. And in these days came prophets from Jerusalem unto Antioch. Stop right there. Stop right there. See, this is the reason why, you have to notify the United Nations. You have to. You have to. Because see, some people, they're not sincere. Some people, they'll do, like I said, they'll do the same thing that some of the people call themselves a Jew. Jews and all that, talking about they worshiping God and want to stone Stephen to death, and talking about they doing it in the name of God and all this. Every time you hear people do, they always talking about they doing something in the name of God, and always trying to kill other people, and talking about they hate black people and they hate white people, and all that. And God ain't told you nothing like that. And this is the same thing. Nobody told you to hate nobody, or to do anything evil to other people on this earth. Now, as it says in Acts chapter 11, verse 27, and in these days came prophets from Jerusalem unto Antioch. There were prophets. And they came from Jerusalem during these days unto Antioch. So you won't want nobody taking verses out of the Bible like you always do. And then you use and misuse these verses to do evil. Verse 28. And there stood up one of them, named Agabus, and signified by the Spirit that there should be great dearth throughout all the world, which came to pass in the days of Claudius Caesar. Then the disciples, every man according to his ability, determined to send relief unto the brethren which dwelt in Judea, which also they did, and sent it to the elders by the hand of Barnabas and Saul. So now let's go to Acts chapter 15. We're going to read Acts chapter 15, we start in verse number 1. And certain men which came down from Judea taught the brethren and said, except you be circumcised after the manner of Moses, you cannot be saved. When therefore Paul and Barnabas had no small dissension and disputation with them, they determined that Paul and Barnabas and certain other them should go up to Jerusalem to the apostles and elders about this question. Verse number 3. And being brought on their way by the church, they passed through Phoenicia and Samaria, declaring the conversion of the Gentiles. And they called great joy unto all the brethren. And when they would come to Jerusalem, they were received of the church and of the apostles and elders, and they declared all things that God had done with them. But there rose up certain of the sect of the Pharisees which believed, saying, it was needful to circumcise them and to command them to keep the law of Moses. And the apostles and elders came together for to consider of this matter. And when there had been much disputed, Peter rose up and said unto them, Men and brethren, you know how that a good while ago God made choice among them and the Gentiles. By my mouth shall hear the word of the gospel and believe. And God, which knoweth the heart, bare them witness, giving them the Holy Ghost, even as he did unto us, and put no difference between us and them, purifying their hearts by faith. Now therefore, why tempt ye God to put a yoke upon the neck of the disciples, which neither our fathers nor we were able to bear? But we believe that through the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ we shall be saved, even as they. And all the multitude kept silent and gave audience to Barnabas and Paul, declaring what miracles and wonders God had wrought among the Gentiles by them. And after they had held their peace, James answered, saying, Men and brethren, hearken unto me. Simeon have declared how God had first did this to the Gentiles, to take out of them a people for his name. And to this agree the words of the prophets as it is written. After this I will return, and will build again the tabernacle of David which is fallen down, and I will build again the ruins thereof, and I will set it up, that the residue of men might seek after the Lord, and all the Gentiles upon whom my name is called, saith the Lord, who doeth all these things. Known unto God are all his works from the beginning of the world. Wherefore my sentence is that we trouble not them which fall among the Gentiles, are turned to God, but that we write unto them that they abstain from pollutions of idols, and from fornication, and from things strangled, and from blood. For Moses of old time hath in every city them that preach him, being read in the synagogue every Sabbath day, being pleased with the apostles and the elders with the whole church, to send chosen men of their own company to Antioch, with Paul and Barnabas, named Judas, surnamed Barsabas, and Silas, chief men among the brethren. See, that's the reason why that was the end of that Christian stuff anyway. See, anybody that even attempt to say anything like, oh, I'm going to get Acts chapter 15, verse 22, that was the end. Acts chapter 15, verse 22, that was the end of the Christian stuff. It was not right. It was not right. And that was the end of the apostles and the elders and the whole church. They sent chosen men back to Antioch. That was the end. There wasn't no such thing as saying you know Christian or Christian or calling the disciple. That was the end of that Christian stuff. So don't nobody nowhere got to worry about arguing with nobody. You ain't got to worry about arguing with nobody. They got a courtroom, and I guarantee you're going to see a whole lot of people be held accountable and responsible. There's no such thing as no Christian. There's no such thing. It was the organized crime. They were being mean and hateful. It was Saul. It was the devil, first of all. It was the devil. That's who said it. And he called the followers of Jesus. He had already killed them in Jerusalem. He had already did all that evil stuff and was breathing out threatenings and slaughter on the road to Damascus. So, you know, the devil calling the disciples a name. All the other stuff they had done, that was something minor. But it was him. It was the devil. It was the devil calling the disciples Christian. Now, we're going to continue reading verse 23. And they wrote letters by them after this manner, the apostles and elders and brethren, saying, greeting unto the brethren which are of the Gentiles in Antioch and Syria and Cilicia. When you hear Cilicia in that verse right there, you have to remember, you have to go back, you have to refer back to Acts chapter 11. You have to refer back to Acts chapter 11. When Barnabas went to Antioch, he left Antioch to go to Tarsus to seek after Saul. And when he did that, that's the reason why you hear the brethren in Cilicia. See, this is how you know that Saul is the devil. This is how you know that Saul is the devil. And then this is how you know that the disciples knew. The apostles knew. See, things like this you can't hide. And then when you heard somebody say Christian in Antioch, they knew who it was. It was Saul. He's starting to show himself, being who he is. He the devil. For as much as we have heard that certain which went out from us have troubled you with words, subverting your souls, saying you must be circumcised and keep the law, to whom we gave no such commandment. It seemed good unto us, being assembled with one accord, to send chosen men unto you, with our beloved Barnabas and Paul, men that have hazarded their lives for the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. We have sent therefore Judas and Silas, who shall also tell you the same thing by mouth. For it seemed good to the Holy Ghost and to us to lay upon you no greater burden than these necessary things, that ye abstain from meats offered to idols, and from blood, and from things strangled, and from fornication, from which if you keep yourself, you should do well, fare you well. So when they were dismissed, they came to Antioch, and when they had gathered the multitude together, they delivered the epistle, which when they had read, they rejoiced for the consolation. And Judas and Silas, being prophets, also themselves exhorted the brethren with many words and confirmed. See, these are verses that we have to notify the United Nations. You say, why you got to do that? For that very reason. See, you have people who are not sincere. People need to be aware of these verses. That were Judas and Silas were prophets. They were prophets. Just like verse in Acts chapter 11, verse 27. In these days there were prophets. And one of them was Agabus. He was a prophet. And so now here we are, another verse. In Acts chapter 15, verse 32. Judas and Silas, they were prophets. They were prophets. They were prophets. But see, we have to notify the United Nations. We don't want nobody to use and misuse any verse or verses of this Bible. Being prophets also themselves exhorted the brethren with many words and confirmed them. And after they had tarried their space, they would let go in peace from the brethren unto the apostles. Notwithstanding, they pleased Silas to abide there still. Paul also and Barnabas continued in Antioch, teaching and preaching the word of the Lord with many others also. And some days after, Paul said unto Barnabas, let us go again and visit our brethren in every city where we have preached the word of the Lord, and see how they do. And Barnabas determined to take with them John, whose surname was Mark. But Paul thought not good to take him with them, who departed from them from Pamphylia, and went not with them to the work. This in Acts chapter 13, verse 13. You know, when John Mark went back to Jerusalem, and the contention was so sharp between them that they departed asunder one from the other, and so Barnabas took Mark and sailed unto Cyprus. And Paul chose Silas and departed, being recommended by the brethren to the grace of God. And he went through Syria and Cilicia, confirming the church. Now we're going to read in Acts chapter 21. We're going to start reading in verse number 1. We're in Acts chapter 21, and we're going to start reading in verse number 1. And it came to pass that after we were gotten from them and had launched, we came with a straight course unto Cos, and the day following unto Rhodes, and from thence unto Paphos. And finding ships sailing over unto Phoenicia, we went abroad and set forth. Now when we had discovered Cyprus, we left it on the left hand and sailed unto Syria, and landed at Tyre, for there the ship was to unlade her burden. And finding disciples, we tarried there 7 days, who said to Paul through the Spirit that he should not go up to Jerusalem. And when we had accomplished those days, we departed and went our way. And they all brought us on our way with wives and children. Let me stop right there just for a moment. Now, we know that there are people who walk around who say that a man not going to get married to the women. And we know that there are people walk around saying that the women not going to get married to the men. It tells you in God's word that the disciples, the men, had wives. That a man had a wife. That these men, the disciples, the men, they had wives. And that the women, the disciples, the women, a woman had a husband. The women, the disciples, they had husbands. See, there weren't no children running around who didn't have a mother and a father, who didn't have parents, who were husband and wife. The disciples, they were husband and wife. They got married. The men and the women got married. The men and the women, the disciples, the men and the women, a man and a woman, they were husband and wife. Till we were out of the city, and we kneeled down on the shore and prayed. And when we had taken our leave one of another, we took ship, and they returned home again. And when we had finished our course from Tyre, we came to Ptolemais, and subdued the brethren, and abode with them one day. And the next day we that were Paul's come departed, and came into Caesarea. And we entered into the house of Philip the evangelist, which was one of the 7 and above him. Now you remember Philip the evangelist, he was one of the 7 in Acts chapter 6. He was one of the 7 that was chosen to serve on the table. And it says, again, it says in verse number 8, and the next day we that were Paul's come departed, and came into Caesarea, and we entered into the house of Philip the evangelist, which was one of the 7 and above him. And the same man had 4 daughters. Now this man got 4 daughters. He had a wife. He wasn't fornicating. He got a wife. He was a husband. Had 4 daughters who were virgins, which did prophesy. Stop right there. See, these are things you have to notify the United Nations about. When you say prophet and prophesy, you do. You see, there's people all over this earth. You hear that word prophet and prophet. People try to take words out the Bible to use and misuse. And as we tarried there many days, there came down from Judea a certain prophet named Agabus. Now this is the same Agabus. He was a prophet that was over in Acts chapter 11, verse 28, 27 and 28. Named Agabus. And when he had come unto us, he took Paul's girdle and bound his own hands and feet and said, Thus saith the Holy Ghost, so shall the Jews at Jerusalem bind the man that owneth this girdle, and shall deliver him into the hands of the Gentiles. And when we heard these things, both we and they of that place besought him not to go up to Jerusalem. Then Paul answered, What mean ye to weep and to break my heart? For I am ready not to be bound only, but also to die in Jerusalem for the name of the Lord Jesus. And when he would not be persuaded, we cease saying, The will of the Lord be done. And after those days we took up our carriages and went up to Jerusalem. There went with us also certain other disciples of Caesarea, and brought with them one Mnason of Cyprus, an old disciple, with whom we shall lodge. And when we were come to Jerusalem, the brethren received us gladly. And the day following, Paul went in with us unto James, and all the elders were present. And when we had saluted them, he declared particularly what things God had wrought among the Gentiles by his ministry. And when they heard it, they glorified the Lord. He said unto him, Thou seest, brother, how many thousands of Jews there are which believe, and they are all zealous of the law. And they are informed of thee that thou teachest all the Jews which are among the Gentiles to forsake Moses, saying that they ought not to circumcise their children, neither to walk after the customs. What is it therefore? The multitude must needs come together, for they will hear that thou art come. Do therefore this that we say to thee. We have 4 men, which have thou on them. Them take and purify thyself with them, and be in charges with them, that they may shave their heads, that all may know that those things whereof they were informed concerning thee are nothing but that thou thyself also walkest orderly and keepest the law. As touching the Gentiles which believe, we have written and concluded that they observe no such thing, save only that they keep themselves from things offered to idols, and from blood, and from strangle, and from fornication. Then Paul took the men, and the next day purifying himself with them, entered into the temple to signify the accomplishment of the days of purification, until that an offering should be offered for every one of them. And when the 7 days were almost ended, the Jews which were of Asia, when they saw him in the temple, stirred up all the people and laid hands on him, crying out, Men of Israel, this is the man that teacheth all men everywhere against the people and the law. And this place has further brought Greeks also into the temple, and have polluted this holy place. For they had seen before with him in the city Trophimus and Ephesians, whom they supposed that Paul had brought into the temple. And all the city was moved, and the people ran together, and they took Paul and drew him out of the temple, and forthwith the doors were shut. And as they went about to kill him, tidings came unto the chief captain of the band that all Jerusalem was in an uproar, who immediately took soldiers and centurions and ran down unto them. And when they saw the chief captain and the soldiers, they left beating Paul. Then the chief captain came near and took him and commanded him to be bound with 2 chains. Demanded who he was and what he had done. some cried one thing and some another among the multitude. And when he could not know the certainty for the tumult, he commanded him to be carried into the council. And when he came upon the stairs, so it was that he was born of the soldiers, for the violence of the people. For the multitude of the people followed after, crying away with him. And as Paul was to be led into the council, he said unto the chief captain, May I speak unto thee? Who said, Canst thou speak Greek? Art not thou that Egyptian which before these days made us an uproar, and led us out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers? But Paul said, I am a man which am a Jew of Tarsus, a city in Cilicia, a citizen of no means, and I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto the people. And when he had given him license, Paul stood on the stairs and beckoned with the hand unto the people. And when there was made a great silence, he spake unto them in the Hebrew tongue, saying, now, it's something that we don't want to leave out. You know, Saul be doing all this beckoning with the hand. You know, when you try to interpret all that, moving your body, body language, and trying to communicate with your body, we don't forget those people that helped Paul to kill Stephen. When Saul consented to the death of Stephen, don't forget those people. It's just like those men who journeyed with him, in Acts chapter 9, in verse number 7, and the men which journeyed with him, they stood speechless, hearing a voice, but they ain't see no man. See, don't leave those men out. When he be doing all that beckoning, at people, he be looking for those people. He be looking for those men, and he be looking for those people who helped him to kill Saul. To kill Stephen. He consented to the death of Stephen. He be looking for those people. Now we in verse 22. You got your bookmark. We're in Acts chapter 22. We're going to start reading verse number 1. Men, brethren, and fathers, hear ye my defense, which I make now unto you. And when they heard that he spake in the Hebrew tongue to them, they kept the more silence. And he said, I am verily a man which am a Jew, born in Tarsus, a city in Cilicia, yet brought up in this city at the feet of Gamaliel, and taught according to the perfect manner of the law of the Father, and was zealous toward God, as ye all are this day. And I persecute this way unto the death, binding and delivering into prison both men and women, as also the high priest doth bear me witness, and all the estate of the elders, from whom also I received letters unto the brethren, and went to Damascus to bring them which were there bound unto Jerusalem, for to be punished. And it came to pass that, as I made my journey and was come nigh unto Damascus, about noon suddenly there shone from heaven a great light round about me, and I fell unto the ground, and heard a voice saying unto me, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And I answered, Who art thou, Lord? And he said unto me, I am Jesus of Nazareth, whom thou persecutest. Verse number 9. You got your bookmark. And they that were with me saw indeed the light, and were afraid. But they heard not the voice of him that spake to me. So again, Acts chapter 22, verse number 9. And it said, and they. We don't know who they is. Don't nobody know. See, don't nobody know who they is. He lying. He is a devil. He the devil. Put your bookmark on Acts chapter 22. It says, let me read verse number 9. And they that were with me saw indeed the light and were afraid. But they, we don't know who they, listen, look at what he said. But they heard not the voice of him that spake to me. He lied. He lied. Acts chapter 9, verse number 7. And the men, stop right there. It specifically said in Acts chapter 9, verse number 7, it said the men. Over there in Acts chapter 20, he said they. When you say they, that can mean boy, girl, you know. You get, that can imply women. But in Acts chapter 9, verse number 7, it specifically says, and the men which journeyed with him, they stood, they were standing, speechless, hearing a voice. They heard a voice. They heard a voice. He lied. Heard a voice. But seeing no man. He lied. He lied. He lied. Acts chapter 9, verse number 7. And the men were journeying, they stood speechless, hearing a voice. Hearing a voice. Hearing a voice. Seeing no man. Saul is the devil. That's the reason why he the devil. All these people talking about he was converted. Yeah, he was converted. He was converted. Acts 7. No, I'm not disagreeing. I'm agreeing. He was converted. In Acts chapter 22, he lied. He lied. He the devil. But he said, but they heard not the voice of him that spake to me. He lied. He the devil. And I said, what shall I do, Lord? And the Lord said unto me, arise and go into Damascus, and there shall be told thee of all things which are appointed for thee to do. And when I could not see for the glory of that light, being led by the hand of them that were with me, I came into Damascus, and one Ananias, a devout man according to the law, having a good report, all the Jews which dwelt there, came unto me and stood and said unto me, Brother Saul, receive thy sight. In the same hour I looked up upon him, and he said, the God our Father hath chosen thee, that thou shouldst know his will and see that just one should hear the voice of his mouth. Now, when it comes to Ananias, he lied again. See, he left out the part about putting on, touching him. See, we have to point these things out. You don't let people get away with that. See, Jesus Christ had told him. Acts chapter 9, verse number 12. They have seen in a vision a man named Ananias coming in and putting his hand on him that he might receive his sight. This is Jesus Christ talking. This is Jesus Christ talking. So, back chapter 22, verse number 12. Acts chapter 22, verse number 12. I'm starting. And one Ananias, that devout man called July, having a good report of all the Jews which came unto me, and stood and said unto me, Brother Saul, receive thy sight. And the same hour I looked up upon him. And he said, the God of our fathers hath chosen thee, that thou shouldest know his will, and see thy just one, and shouldest hear the voice of his mouth. For thou shalt be his witness unto all men, what thou hast seen and heard. And now, why tarriest thou? Arise and be baptized, and wash away thy sin, call on the name of the Lord. And it came to pass that when I was come again to Jerusalem, even while I prayed, until I was in a trance, and saw him saying unto me, make haste and get thee quickly out of Jerusalem, for they will not receive thy testimony concerning me. And I said, Lord, they know that I am prison and beaten in every synagogue them that believe on thee. And when the blood of thy martyr Stephen was shed, I also was standing by, and consented unto his death, and kept the raiment of them that slew him. And he said unto me, depart, for I will send thee far hence unto the Gentiles. Now the stuff that he's saying, you know he lied. He lied. You should know by now he lied. You already see he lied in Acts chapter 20 once before. Then he lied about Ananias. So what make you think he's not lying now? You see what we going with it? You see how he didn't just tell one lie in Acts chapter 22. He's telling multiple lies. He lied about the men. He told 2 lies in Acts chapter 9. Talking about they. Then he lied about talking about they didn't hear the voice of the men in Acts chapter 9. Then he lied again about Ananias. You know, he left out the part that Ananias put his hands on him. And see, this is the thing about Jesus. When he know that Jesus said something, he intentionally leaves it out. He the devil. He the devil. And the fact that he lied, you should know he's the devil. You should know by now he's the devil. He's not just a human being. He's the devil. Saul is the devil. And I said, Lord, they know that I am preaching and beaten in every synagogue them that believe on thee. And when the blood of thy martyr Stephen was shed, I also was standing by and consented until his death, and kept the raiment of them that slew him. And he said unto me, depart, for I will send thee far hence unto the Gentiles. And they gave him audience unto this word, and then lifted up their voice and said, away with such a fellow from the earth, for it is not fit that he should live. And as they cried out, they cast off their clothes, and threw dust into the air. The chief captain commanded him to be brought into the council, and bade that he should be examined by scourging, that he might know wherefore they cried so against him. And as they bound him with thongs, Paul said unto the centurion that stood by, is it lawful for you to scourge a man that is a Roman and uncondemned? When the centurion heard that, he went and told the chief captain, saying, take heed what thou doest, for this man is a Roman. Then the chief captain came and said unto him, tell me, art thou a Roman? He said, yea. And the chief captain answered, with a great sum obtained thou this freely. And Paul said, but I was freeborn. Then straightway they departed from him, which should have examined him. Then the chief captain also was afraid, after he knew that he was a Roman, and because he had bound him on the morrow, because he would have known the certain wherefore he was accused of the Jews, he loosed him from his band, and commanded the chief priest and all their council to appear, and brought Paul down and set him before them. Now, well, I'm gonna start before I go to Acts chapter 26. I'm gonna start reading in Acts chapter 25, verse number 1. Now, when Festus was come into the province after 3 days, he ascended from Caesarea to Jerusalem. Then the high priest and the chief of the Jews informed him against Paul, and besought him, and desired favor against him, that he would send for him to Jerusalem, laying wait in the way to kill him. But Festus answered that Paul should be kept in Caesarea, and that he himself would depart shortly of them. Let them therefore, said he, which among you are able, go down with me and accuse this man, if there be any wickedness in him. And when he had tarried among them more than 10 days, he went down unto Caesarea, and the next day, sitting on the judgment seat, commanded Paul to be brought. And when he was come, the Jews which came down from Jerusalem stood round about, and laid many and grievous complaints against Paul, which they could not prove. While he answered for himself, neither against the law of the Jews, neither against the temple, nor yet against Caesar, have I offended anything at all. But Festus, willing to do the Jews a pleasure, answered Paul and said, wilt thou go up to Jerusalem, and there be judged of these things before me? Then said Paul, I stand at Caesar's judgment seat, where I ought to be judged. To the Jews have I done no wrong, as thou very well knowest. For if I be an offender, or have committed anything worthy of death, I refuse not to die. But if there be none of these things whereof these accuse me, no man may deliver me unto them. I appeal unto Caesar. Then Festus, when he had conferred with the council, answered, hast thou appealed unto Caesar? Unto Caesar shalt thou go. And after certain days, King Agrippa and Bernice came unto Caesarea to salute Festus. And when they had been there many days, Festus declared Paul came unto the king, saying, there is a certain man left in bonds by Felix, about whom, when I was at Jerusalem, the chief priests and the elders of the Jews informed me, desiring to have judgment against him, to whom I answered, it is not the manner of the Romans to deliver any man to die, before that he which is accused have the accuser face to face, and have license to answer for himself concerning the crime laid against him. Therefore, when they were come hither without any delay, on the morrow I sat on the judgment seat, and commanded the man to be brought forth, against whom, when the accuser stood up, they brought none accusating such thing as I suppose, but had certain questions against them of their own superstition, and of one Jesus, which was dead, whom Paul affirmed to be alive. And because I doubted of such manner of questions, I asked him whether he would go to Jerusalem. And there be judged of these matters. But when Paul had appealed to be reserved unto the hearing of Augustus, I commanded him to be kept till I might send him to Caesar. Then Agrippa said unto Festus, I will also hear the man myself tomorrow. Said he, thou shalt hear him. And on the morrow, when Agrippa was come, and Bernice, with great pomp, and was entered into the place of hearing with the chief captain and principal men of the city, at Festus' command, Paul was brought forth. And Festus said, King Agrippa, and all men which are here present with us, ye see this man, about whom all the multitude of the Jews have dealt with me, both at Jerusalem and also here, crying that he ought not to live any longer. But when I found that he had committed nothing worthy of death, and that he himself have appealed to Augustus, I have determined to send him, of whom I have no certain thing to write unto my Lord, wherefore I have brought him forth before you, and especially before thee, O King Agrippa, that after examination, had I might have somewhat to write, but it seemed to me unreasonable to send a prisoner, and not withal to signify the crime laid against him. Now we're in Acts chapter 26. You got your bookmark. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, verse number 1, Acts chapter 26, verse number 1. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, thou art permitted to speak. For thyself then Paul stretched forth the hand and answered for himself. I think myself happy, King Agrippa, because I shall answer for myself this day before thee, touching all the things whereof I am accused of the Jews, especially because I know these to be expert in all customary questions which are among the Jews. Wherefore I beseech thee to hear me patiently. My manner of life from my youth, which was at the first among my own nation in Jerusalem, know all the Jews, which knew me from the beginning, if they would testify that after the most straightest sect of our religion, I lived a Pharisee. Now I stand and am judged for the hope of the promise made of God unto our Father, unto which promise our 12 tribes instantly serving God day and night hope to come. For which hope's sake, King Agrippa, I am accused of the Jews. Why should it be thought a thing incredible with you that God shall raise the dead? I verily thought with myself that I ought to do many things contrary to the name of Jesus of Nazareth. Which thing I also did in Jerusalem, and many of the saints did I shut up in prison, having received authority from the chief priests. And when they were put to death, I gave my voice against them, and I punished them often in every synagogue, and compelled them to blasphemy. And being exceedingly mad against them, I persecuted them even unto strange city. Whereupon, as I went to Damascus with authority and commission from the chief priests, pay attention, verse 13. At midday, it never, Acts chapter 9 never said that it was morning, noon, or evening. It never said that. At midday, O King, I saw in the way a light from heaven, above the brightness of the sun, shining round about me and them which journeyed with me. Stop right there. He lied again. Shining round about me and them. We don't know who them is. No, we don't. No, we don't. We don't know who them is. We don't know who them is. Shining round about me and them. We don't know who them is. And then furthermore, the light shined around about him only, and shining around nobody else. He lied. Acts chapter 9, starting at verse number 3. And as he journeyed, he came to Damascus, and suddenly there shined around about him a light from heaven. Verse number 14. And when we were all fallen to the earth in line, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue, Acts chapter 9 never said that Saul, why persecute thou me? It is hard for thee to get Mr. Preach. Stop right there. Verse number 4, Acts chapter 9, verse number 4. And he fell to the earth. Verse number 15, Acts chapter 26, verse 15. And I said, Who art thou, Lord? And he said, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. But rise and stand upon thy feet, for I have appeared unto thee for this purpose, to make thee a minister and witness both of these things which thou hast seen, and of those things in which I will appear unto thee, delivering thee from the people and from the Gentiles, unto whom now I send thee, to open their eyes, and to turn them from darkness to light, and from the power of Satan unto God, that they may receive forgiveness of sins and inheritance among them which are sanctified by faith that is in me. Whereupon, O King Agrippa, I was not disobedient to the heavenly vision, but shewed first unto them of the Master and at Jerusalem and throughout all the coast of Judea, and then to the Gentile, that they should repent and turn to God and do works meet for repentance. For these cause of the Jews caught me in the temple and went about to kill me. Having therefore obtained help of God, I continue to this day, witnessing both the small and great, saying none other thing than those which the prophets and Moses did say, should come, that Christ shall suffer, and that should be the first. They shall rise from the dead, they shall shew light unto the people and to the Gentiles. And as he thus spake for himself, Festus said with a loud voice, Paul, thou art beside thyself, much learning doth make thee mad. But he said, I am not mad, most noble Festus, but speak forth the words of truth and soberness. For the king knoweth for these things, before whom also I speak freely. For I am persuaded that none of these things are hidden from him, for this thing was not done in a corner. King Agrippa, believest thou the prophets? I know that thou believest. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, Almost thou persuaded me to be a Christian. And Paul said, I would to God that not only thou, but also all that hear me this day were both almost and altogether such as I am, except these bones. And when he had thus spoken, the king rose up, and the governor and Bernice and they that sat with him. And when they were gone aside, they talked between themselves, saying, This man doeth nothing worthy of death or bond. Then Agrippa said unto Festus, This man might have been set in liberty if he had not appealed unto Caesar. So as you can see, Saul lied. We keep turning back. We went to Acts chapter 22. We turned back to Acts chapter 9, referred back to Acts chapter 9. We went to Acts chapter 26 and referred back to Acts chapter 9. And when we confirmed that Saul was lying. He the devil. It ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about he the devil. You don't have to argue with nobody. The International Criminal Court, the United States Justice Department, all the other nations on earth, they have a justice department. Criminal and civil charge. You ain't gonna make me work with no devil. Now there are 3 places in the Bible that you find that word Christian. The first place is Acts chapter 11. is Acts chapter 11, verse 26. We know who it was. It was Saul. It was Saul, talking about, and the disciples were first called Christians, first in Antioch. It was Saul. The second place you find the word Christian in the Bible. Acts chapter 26, verse 28. King Agrippa said he was almost persuaded to be a Christian. Again, it was Saul. He was close by, so we know it was Saul. It was him. The third place you find that word Christian in the Bible is 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 16. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but glorify God on his behalf. The Apostle Peter was he was talking about organized crime, the devil worshippers. They go around trying to find any and everybody. You know what they do? They try to go get any and everybody to support the organized crime, the devil worship. And the Apostle Peter said, let him not be ashamed. Let him not be ashamed. But glorify God. That's what distinguishes, that's the difference. Glorify God. Glorify God on this behalf. When you go to 2 Peter chapter 3, verses 15, 16, 17, and 18, the Apostle Peter exposed Saul from Tarsus. He exposed Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, for writing those epistles. And in those epistles, the Apostle Peter read those epistles. And in those epistles, Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, what did he say? He called himself an apostle of Jesus Christ. He was lying. He lied. He is not no apostle. He was lying. He didn't even tell you, see, this is what we all do. He always trying to tell people stuff and always lie. He don't never tell you I'm the devil. He don't never tell you I'm the devil. He don't never tell you I'm the devil. But he gonna tell you I'm an apostle of Jesus Christ. See, and you and me, we read those epistles and we believe that Paul is an apostle of Jesus. He don't never tell you I'm the devil. He don't never tell you I'm the devil. I guarantee you, if he had said I'm the devil, you wouldn't hear nobody saying nothing about it. You wouldn't have to worry about arguing with nobody. You wouldn't have to worry about it. But he said I'm an apostle of Jesus Christ. And you got to go through this whole process. So, now, we continue to talk about African traditional religion. African traditional religion is being taught and instituted in how to learn at colleges and universities in sub-Saharan Africa. You can earn a master's degree, PhD, studying African traditional religion. Now, one of the books we're going to continue to refer to and read and refer to the title, West African Traditional Religion, is written by Dr. Joseph. They say, well, they know Dr. P. I don't know. Another book we're going to read refer to the title African Traditional Religion and Definition, written by Dr. E. Below John Doe. Another book we're going to read refer to the title African Religion and Philosophy, written by Dr. John S.M.B. Another book we're going to read, Virtual Title Concept of God in Africa, written by Dr. John S.M.B. Now, examples of some of schools in Sub-Saharan Africa that teach African traditional religion. Dr. Joseph Omasay related PhD, Aberdeen. Senior Lecturer, African Traditional Religion, Department of Religious Studies, University of Aberdeen, Aberdeen, Nigeria. Dr. P. Adam Payne, PhD, Aberdeen, Department of Religious Studies, University of Ilorin, Nigeria. Dr. E. Belojan Dolan, Professor of Religious Studies, University of Aberdeen, Nigeria. Dr. John S.M.B., he was born in Kenya, and he studied at Makerere University College in Uganda. Now, as you know, the prefixes and suffixes and the root words, they in Webster's Third New International Dictionary and in the Oxford English Dictionary. And Webster's Third New International Dictionary. The complete and total definition meaning of the word gain. The act, manner, or means of going. This is mobile. This is mom. Stupid sorority and that stupid fraternity. It's a sister. This is brother. I went to the store and bought some brand new batteries, and the batteries still didn't work. So maybe it's some cheap batteries. I don't know. Maybe it's the wrong battery, but I put some rail back batteries in and it didn't work. And this is Oxford English Dictionary, the complete and total definition and meaning of the word game, action or mode of going, way, passage, instead of things or person. This is mobile and mob. Now there's student sorority and there's student fraternity. Now, again, the United States Justice Department. The United States Justice Department. They told everybody, domestic and foreign, organized crime is wrong. And that gang stuff is wrong. See, you don't have to worry about no attorney talking about the Constitution, talking about some freedom of assembly, talking about some freedom of expression. The United States Justice Department, they done told everybody around the world, domestic, here in the United States as well as outside the United States, they told you that organized crime is wrong. And that gang stuff is wrong. Is it? Now, don't let that sorority and that fraternity mislead you. It's organized crime. Don't let the sorority and fraternity mislead you. There's nothing right. See, don't forget the intent. Anybody that try to argue about no sorority or fraternity, always remember first of all, the person and persons. Remember we were talking about that first sorority and first fraternity. The intent. They never intended to do right. So there's no reason for you to argue. That's the end of the conversation. See, when you talk about the person and persons that started that fraternity and that sorority, they never intended to do what's right. That's the end of it. You don't have to sit around and argue about it, talking about, well, that was doing it. It's the same thing. If a person didn't intend for it to be, why in the world would you even want to be a part of it? They didn't never intend to do what's right. That's the end of the conversation. Don't let the sorority and fraternity mislead you. Whatever you do, don't let the sorority and the fraternity mislead you. It's organized crime. Organized crime and devil worship is one and the same. See, the devil we go all the way back. The devil deceived all of us. That's what he intended to do, to deceive all of us. That's what he did. He deceived a whole lot of people in the bag. He sure did. The devil lied about God. But he don't never tell you. He gonna tell you, man, the devil, God lying. God be lying. He don't never tell you I'm the devil. You ever notice that? Just like look in the Old Testament. He did all that talking. But he didn't never tell you I'm the devil. He gonna tell you what God said, all God said. But he don't never tell you the lies that he tell you. See, don't let the devil deceive you. Don't be influenced by the devil. Listen to God. Listen to God. Because see, that's what a lot of people do. They listen to the devil. Be deceived by the devil. That's what devil worship is. That's what that organized crime is. The Perizzites, the Jebusite, the Girgasite, the Hittite, the Hivite, the Canaanite, the Amorite. I be trying to remember, the Philistine, the Midianites, and whoever, all the ones that the children of Israel went through to possess the land of Canaan. And then after they possessed the land of Canaan, some more. See, God told the children of Israel, don't go after other gods. Don't go after other gods. Now, the children of Israel, the first time you see the word Jew in the Old Testament, the book of Esther, 2nd chapter, verse number 5. Jews in the Old Testament, 2 Kings, chapter 16, verse number 6. The book of Numbers, chapter 25. Israel's harlotry in Moab. Deuteronomy chapter 7, chosen people. Deuteronomy chapter 13, the dream of dreams. Judges chapter 2 and 3. The book of Ezra chapter 9. Emphasize verse number 12. And it's titled, the chapter is titled, Intermarriage with Pagans. Now you know this week, like I said, the United Nations celebrated the anniversary, which is Human Rights Day, December the 10th, Human Rights Day, the 70th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights at the United Nations. Glad to hear that. And, so, when we was reading in the book of Acts. Now, as you know, let me make sure I can. Now, we continue to, expose Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul. He's a liar, murderer, the devil. Now, organized crime. The Catholic Church. Saint Ignatius of Antioch wrote all those letters. One of the letters he wrote to the Smyrnaeans. He wrote that phrase, Catholic Church. That's organized crime. The Catholic Church is organized crime. All that particular church. The Latin Rite, that's Latin. The Alexandrian Rite, Coptic, Ethiopian, Eritrean. The Armenian Rite, Armenian. The Byzantine Rite, Albanian, Belarusian, Bulgarian. The Croatian and Serbian, Greek, Hungarian, Italo-Albanian, Macedonian, Melkite, Romanian, Russian, Ruthenian, Slavic, Ukrainian, East Syrian Rite, Chaldean, Syro-Malabar, West Syrian Rite, Maronite, Syrian, Syro-Manicara. It's organized crime. The Protestant Reformation movement, churches, the 95 Theses, major branches, Adventism, Anabaptism, Anglicanism, Baptist churches, Calvinism, Lutheranism, Methodism, Pentecostalism, minor branches, Hussitism, Waldensianism, Plymouth Brethren, the Holiness Movement, Quakerism, and then there's multiple others. And then the interdenominational movement, Evangelicalism, Charismatic movement, Neo-Charismatic movement. Then you have other developments, Arminianism, Pietism, Puritanism, Neo-Orthodox, Paleo-Orthodox, Christian fundamentalism, modernism and liberalism, related movement, non-denominational movement, non-denominational churches, and house churches, organized crime. Now, the American Restoration Movement, Stone Campbell Movement, Churches of Christ, unaffiliated Christian Church, Church of Christ Congregation, Christian Church, Disciples of Christ, organized crime. And then you have all these, what they call them, cult leaders, and cults. The Moors, the Mormons, they have a prophet. He wrote a book, Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard. And then you have the Zoroastrianism, Zoroastrians. They have a prophet. As you know, Islam, Prophet Muhammad, and then you have what's his name, Ali, the Shiites and the Sunnis, and then you have the Baha'i. They have a prophet. And then you have the Sikhs. They have a prophet. And then you have, like Jim Jones. David Koresh. Then you have all the American Muslim Society. You have the Moorish Zion Temple, the Nation of Islam, the 5% Nation, Black Hebrew Israelites, Rastafaris. It's all organized crime. It's organized crime, devil worship. That's what organized crime is, devil worship. That's what it is, devil worship. You see it today. You see it today. You see organized crime. All these wars you see being fought around the world. You see all this discontent. You see all these migrants. You see all these refugees. It's organized crime. It's organized crime. That's who behind it. It's organized crime. Devil worship. See, there's only one church. There's only one church. Jesus Christ, the Son of God, established the one and only church. Matthew chapter 16, verses 13 through 19. Matthew chapter 18, verses 15 through 20. See, the one and only church. The disciples, the saints, going to the United Nations, gonna make it official. And at the same time, the International Criminal Court, criminal and civil charges. At the same time, the United States Justice Department, federal and state, including local. So when you deal with the state government, the local government, gonna follow suit. See, the United States Justice Department, federal, then you're talking about state government. And anytime you deal with the state government, all the local governments, criminal and civil charges. See, the local police department, including the county sheriff department, the sheriff department, law enforcement. And then you got the state bureau of investigation. Then you have the federal bureau of investigation. Then you have all these federal departments like the ATF and the U.S. Marshal, the border patrol and the customs. See, all that Homeland Security. See, right now it may appear, people see it appear like, oh, ain't nothing to worry about. It just seemed that way, but that's not the case. See, one thing Eric don't do. See, Eric ain't staying up from 12 o'clock midnight and then 6 o'clock in the morning for no reason. What sense that make? That don't make no sense. Just to do a video, what sense that make? What is that going to accomplish? Reading the Bible and talking about exposing Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul. There has to be a goal. There has to be something that's going to be done, some action that's going to be taken. Criminal and civil charges. See, Eric don't do nothing for no reason. Eric don't do nothing for no reason. Criminal and civil charges. Criminal and civil charges. See, Jesus Christ gave a commission to all his apostles. To his 12 apostles. Only 12. There's only 12 apostles. Matthew chapter 28, verses 16 through 20. Mark chapter 16, verses 14 through 20. Luke chapter 24, verses 44 through 49. And John chapter 21. There's only 12 apostles. Only 12. You see, the 3 places in the Bible you find the word Christian. It was Saul. Acts chapter 11, verse 26. You know, the the disciple who first called Christian in Antioch. It was Saul. This was after Barnabas had to go find Saul in Tarsus and then brought him from Tarsus to Antioch. And then you hear the disciple who first called Christian in Antioch. It was Saul, the devil. The second time you hear the word Christian in the Bible, the second time, it was Saul again. King Agrippa said he was almost ready to be a Christian. Who was that? It was Saul again, the devil. Now the third time you find the word Christian in the Bible. The Apostle Peter, First Peter, chapter 4, verse 16. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but glorify God on his behalf. See, the Apostle Peter was making you aware of organized crime, devil worship. That's what that is. Glorify God. That's what the Apostle Peter, glorify God on his behalf. See, the devil worship don't want to do that. See, that's the important thing that you have to understand. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, oh, you suffer. See, when you be disobedient, be defiant, you suffer. You're being denied. You deny Jesus Christ as the Son of God. You're rejecting Christ. You suffer. You glorify God. The only way you can glorify God, you have to stop denying Jesus Christ as the Son of God. You have to stop rejecting Jesus Christ. You glorify God. Because there ain't no Christian gonna glorify God. Christians don't glorify God. Don't let nobody tell you that. Don't let nobody tell you that. Don't no Christian glorify God. See, that's the point we were making with Saul. People be talking about Saul was converted. Yeah, I know. See, Saul, the light from heaven. It was a heavenly light. It's a heavenly light. And it shined around by him only. And then he fell to the earth. He must have knew something. Because he gonna fall to the earth. He didn't say anything I didn't know. He fell to the earth. And then he said, "Who art thou, Lord?" He asked, "Who art thou, Lord?" You're trying to deceive you and me. And that voice that says, "Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me?" And then he gonna ask, "Who art thou, Lord?" And that voice said, "I am Jesus. I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest." But you know what he said? "Lord, what would thou have me to do?" He's trying to deceive you and me. Because when Jesus told him that I am Jesus, don't move too fast. Don't be so fast to accept him. See, it's very important to listen to Jesus. See, this is what you got to do. Me and you, this is what we got to do. We got to listen to Jesus. See, Jesus wasn't just talking to Saul. He was talking to me and you too. I am Jesus. I am Jesus. See, it's important that me and you listen. Not just Saul, but me and you listen. How did it make you feel when Jesus Christ told Saul that I am Jesus? Did that enhance your faith? Did that enhance your belief that Jesus Christ told Saul, I am Jesus? Did they give you some inspiration? They gave you more inspiration. See, different stroke for different folks. There's so many different things that, spark inspiration in everybody. See, that what got me. Is when I look at Saul, I see the devil being exposed by Jesus Christ. See, he gonna ask when Jesus Christ said, I am Jesus. And then he asks, what would thou have me to do, Lord? You make it sound like that's what you're supposed to do. Ask Jesus what to do. You make it sound like that's what you're supposed to do. Ask Jesus what you want me to do, Jesus. When Jesus Christ tell you, I am Jesus, what's in your heart? What's in your heart? See, Jesus looked inside my heart. Jesus looked inside your heart. See, Jesus we don't know each other. I don't know what's in your heart, and you don't know what's in mine, but Jesus knows. So don't say that Jesus don't know who this being is. Who asked, who art thou, Lord? And the boy said, I am Jesus, whom thou persecute. And then he gonna ask another question. Lord, what would thou have me to do? Trying to deceive you and trying to deceive me. But like I said, like I pointed out, repent. Repent. See, that didn't ring a bell. But it rang a bell for me when that boy said, I am Jesus. Repent. Repent. He gonna ask, Lord, what would thou have me to do? But let me say this. Some things should be self-explanatory. Because I didn't hear him say nothing. Like, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Like, Jesus, forgive me. Forgive me for the sins I committed. He ain't asked for forgiveness. He ain't asked for nothing. But some people think that's right to ask Jesus what to do. Well, if you feel like that was right, the devil, he trying to deceive you and me. And then Jesus told him to arise, go into the city, and it shall be told what thou must do. But in the meantime, when I told you I was Jesus, when you asked me who art thou, Lord, and I told you I'm Jesus. See, when I tell you who I am, I'm entitled to respect. Because I'm Jesus, I'm the Son of God. I'm the Son of God. Just saying, Lord, that I'm Jesus, I'm the Son of God. I know. When I tell you I'm Jesus, I'm the Son of God, I know the sins you have committed. I know the evil that you have done. Because that's what I'm telling you. You persecuting me. When I tell you I'm Jesus, it's me that you persecute. I'm telling you that I know about your evil. I know the wrong you have done. And when I tell you that, that's what you should do. See, you need to listen. You need to listen. I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. When Jesus told Saul that you was persecuting me, it's something that he should have did. It's something he's supposed to do. Then you're gonna ask. Then you're gonna ask, Lord, what would thou have me to do? Arise and go into the city, and it should be told thee what thou must do. But I told you, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. It's wrong what he did. It's wrong. It's wrong what he did. Jesus Christ told him, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. It's wrong to persecute Jesus. It's wrong to persecute you. Lord, what would thou have me to do? I told you. I had already told you. And then you're going to ask me, what would thou have me to do? You the devil. I told you, I am Jesus, whom thou persecute. Listen. You need to listen. Listen. He was persecuting Jesus. Listen. It's wrong. It's a sin. And then you're going to ask Jesus, what would thou have, Lord, what would thou have me to do? Arise and go in the city. It should be told thee what thou must do. And also in 2 Peter chapter 3. And it's, it's titled Beware of False Teachers. Acts chapter 2 Peter chapter 3 verses 15, 16, 17, 18. And it's it's titled Beware of False Teachers. And so the Apostle Peter, he read those epistles that Saul wrote. And in those epistles, he said, Paul, an apostle of Jesus Christ. He was lying. He's not no apostle. There's only 12 apostles. Only 12. There's only 12 apostles. He's a devil. He lying. He the devil. He the devil. Well, I'm going to get ready to end today's video. Now these are just a few of the free logo design websites you go to make anti-gang logos. I'm going to get ready to end today's video. Again, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known by BrightShine. Right here to see the Memphis, in the county, city, within the state of Tennessee. And thank all my family, my support for your continued encouragement and support. You take care of yourself. And I'm going to come back on my next video. We're going to continue. And like I said, I'm not doing this for no reason. First of all, it's only one church. It's only one church. Only one church. The United Nations. The United Nations. Make it official. On one church. And at the same time, at the United Nations, the International Criminal Court, criminal and civil, I see it's a crime being committed. It is. By the Catholic Church and all the particular church, all these Protestant Reformation churches, the 95 Theses, the American Restoration Movement, the Stone County Movement. It's a crime. All these cult leaders and cult groups, they commit a crime. It's organized crime, first of all. The devil worship. Criminal and civil charge at the same time. The United States Justice Department, federal, includes state. And then all these nations around the world, they have a Justice Department at the same time. Criminal and civil charge. Take care of yourself. Coming back on my next video, we're going to keep on going. Take care of yourself with each and every one of you.